And so we begin together, we together in this place, and we make our way together towards the mystery of Easter. We make our way together towards a risen life and a risen love. And as we make our way, we begin to identify hindrances, things that get in the way of love ever becoming what it can be, and life flourishing and flourishing to its fullest as it was meant to be. And so I ask you a question. What is it that needs to die in you? What is it that needs to die in you as we make our way together to the fullness of love and of life? What must go?
The word Lent means springtime, new life. I think we would all agree that this winter has been long and cold. And it's time to plant seeds and watch as life comes back to the trees and the bushes and the flowers. Slow but sure over the next 6 weeks. Watch and wait. Our hearts yearn for spring to come. But stop. Does life come without cost? No, not really. The seed needs to die before it can produce new fruit. Easter follows Good Friday. But what in us needs to die before we can be fully alive? As the gospel proclaims, we must die to our ego. When you give alms, do not blow a trumpet before you to win the praise of others. Death of the ego. When you pray, do not pray in the synagogues and on the street corners so that others may see you. Death of the ego. When you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites so others may know you are fasting. Death of the ego. Jesus tells us we must die to our ego's desire for power and prestige and praise so that the true self might emerge. A reflection on planting a garden might provide us some insight into the meaning of Lent, leading us from the cross to the resurrection. Pick up that potato that you were given as you came in. Feel it. Look at it closely. Hold it. Planting potatoes in some parts of the United States is a ritual that takes place on St. Patrick's Day or on Good Friday. This is an ancient ritual. Before planting potatoes, you must first cut out the pieces containing eyes, and then those pieces are ready to be buried into the good soil of the garden. In a play on words, we see a similar relationship between Easter and the destruction of the ego I. For without cutting out the I, without the death of the ego, there can be no personal resurrection experience. Now, Easter is a joyous event. We celebrate it with new clothes and candy rabbits and colored eggs. But it is a painful experience as well. Easter is a celebration of resurrection, but resurrection implies death. You know, we're eager to celebrate, but we are reluctant to die first. I know that's true of me. I love the celebration. I don't look forward to the dying. The death of Easter is more than the body. It is deeper. It is the superpower, the ego, the I that must die. If we seek holiness and wholeness, we must cut out the great I and bury it. You know, this is no easy task. For the I reacts strongly to any effort to limit its authority. The I wants to have its own way and to have it right now, with no compromise and no opposition. We want what we want when we want it. We want what we want when we want it. So part of the task is to find the I of the self, just as we locate the I of the potato. In its daily demands for attention, the I wears 1,001 clever disguises. How often does academic prestige trump relationships? Or our need for control and perfection put others at dis-ease? Or our busyness prevent us from loving our neighbors and caring for ourselves? The ego has mastered countless ingenious maneuvers to make sure that all of its desires will be met. But as long as the I remains above ground, refusing to die, it is doomed to death and sterility. Both the potato and the ego must surrender to the knife. Both the potato and the ego must surrender to the knife. So how do I do this? How do I do this? Well, notice when you want your own way. I see it in myself when I want to prove I'm right, and I argue the person into agreeing. Many in this room would agree to that one. I see it when I fill my prayer time with the things I have to do first, and then I run out of time. I see it when I'm getting very impatient, waiting in a long line, like that salad line over at the Duck. Lent is time to cut out the ego. Our fasting, prayer, and charity, service, our disciplines, that help us say no to our ego so that we can say yes to the true self. You know, the Easter of bonnets and colored eggs is pink and beautiful, but the Easter of cut up potatoes and cut up egos, I don't suggest you do this, that's rather ugly. This is a figurative thing. It's rather ugly. However, I think the Easter potato is a more apt symbol than colored eggs. So today, we begin a season that opens us to new life, that leads the way to the resurrection. The giving at times is painful. As you receive the mark of ashes today, recall that we must die before we can rise. And after you receive your ashes, take your potato and place it where you can see it every day. Watch the potato sprout eyes. They're almost invisible because these are fresh potatoes, nothing but the best. However, if you let these sit on your window or in your car, they will grow eyes. All right. Now, on Good Friday, what you want to do is you want to cut the eye out. If you have a large potato, you might have a whole bunch of eyes. And then you just bury it in the soil. About 6 inches, I've heard. I'm looking at a gardener to see. And then watch how it will sprout new life. It probably won't happen in 3 days, but if you're patient, it will sprout new life. May the Easter potato be a reminder for each of us throughout this season of Lent of dying to our ego demands, and rising to new life with Jesus on Easter morning.